Hey guys, and welcome back to the Lair. Today we're discussing the things that Dungeon Masters are known to ban at their tables. I'm posting a questionnaire for you guys in the description of this video so you can fill out and share your views and opinions in the comments section below. As always, make sure you guys have liked the video and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to support me and keep up to date with everything that I'm doing. Thanks guys. The first thing I'm going to be covering is spells. Some Dungeon Masters ban spells from their games. Examples include Silvery Barbs, Goodberry, Counterspell, and anything that really involves resurrection, to name a few. There are probably a number of reasons why Dungeon Masters feel compelled to do this, but I imagine one of the main reasons is for game balance and campaign flavour. The next is races. I think this is probably one of the more common ones, and there are lots of Dungeon Masters out there who outright ban certain race options from being used in their games, whether it's because they don't like the theme or the flavour of the race, they don't have the race in their campaign setting that they're running in, or because the race has a mechanic that the Dungeon Master would rather not deal with, such as a flight speed for one of the many bird races, or well, there's a few bird races, I think there's like 2 or 3, dark vision, or other racial abilities that give them an edge. Following on from that, classes and subclasses are another big one to be banned in people's games. A lot of people don't like the Masters of Invention, the Artificer, from being used at their 5e tables, just as an example. And to add, certain subclasses are also open to being banned as well, ranging from raw all the way through the supplemental books that Wizards of the Coast have made over the years. Some DMs also ban playtest material from Unearthed Arcana and other sources, and I think the main reason for that is because it's not official and it could be unbalanced for play, right? Feats and edges are a frequent ban at many tables, the likes of the Lucky Feat being one of the big ones. I'm sure there are lots of others, but I think Lucky is the big one that I've seen Dungeon Masters ban before in games where I've been a player, and also I don't allow it either, to be honest. Magic items are also known to be banned or just not used by Dungeon Masters as well. I think a great example would be a Bag of Holding, which allows players to carry up to 500 pounds of gear without taking up any weight or space. The Deck of Many Things is also a good example of an item that Dungeon Masters will avoid using because they are one of the main reasons is that they're worried it will destabilize and ruin their games, and for some of these DMs, I'm sure that would be the case, especially if you are running like a long-form story with a progressional arc and a big bad or something like that. Player versus player is also a big ban in a lot of people's games. I would say most people's games, right? I bet you were thinking, wait, Loki's probably not going to say anything that I ban. I don't ban anything, right? Well, a lot of DMs do ban PvP, right? D&D is a cooperative game and it relies on players working with each other, right? Rather than against each other in order to complete objectives. I'm sure there are people who do think PvP is okay, secrets and things like that is absolutely fine. But PvP doesn't just mean combat, it means working against the party's goals and interests. PvP can cause conflict at the table, and this conflict can lead to games ending and dice not being rolled. There are a few things that are banned in combat encounters, but I think there is no bigger than flanking. And to be fair, flanking is an optional rule. It's not in the base rules or anything like that. But a lot of players believe it's the only way to play, really. And the idea is simple. One player flanks a monster with the other player on the opposite side. They both get advantage or another similar bonus, and it allows them to be more effective. Certain types of content can also be banned at Dungeon Master's discretion. These include things like slavery, sex, assault, and other forms of mature content. I personally do allow most forms of content, but I use a veil to have things fade to black typically to avoid players feeling uncomfortable or creating an awkwardness for my game. I know I'm not alone in doing that, so let me know. Let me know what you do. Let me know how you feel about that. I think instant kill mechanics is also a really interesting one. I've seen a lot of dungeon masters choose to outright not use that. Perhaps it's because they're worried that it's going to upset people, but I also imagine it's because they want to have a progressional story in their game, and it seems a bit mean, perhaps, is what some people might think. This could be things like abilities, spells like Power Word Kill and Finger of Death, right? Those are two of the big ones. And also like lethal traps that could just one-shot players, execute them outright. And also sometimes it may be even monster abilities like a Dragon's Breath weapon. I've seen DMs who choose to not use that or diminish its damage to make it so players don't die from getting hit by it. The last on this list is metagaming, which is the idea of a player using knowledge that their character wouldn't know. Personally, I think metagaming is okay some of the time. I think sometimes you shouldn't really be acting upon information that your character wouldn't know. If it's something that another player would know, I think it's up to them to share that information. But I think there's instances where it's fine. I think it's fair to assume that your character would know that werewolves don't like silver, that vampires don't like garlic, and that, I don't know, if there is undead in an area, perhaps there is a lich or a necromancer nearby, right? I mean, I think these are things that are relatively easy for people to assume, and if you can assume it, perhaps your character can, depending on your intelligence. What do you think about the list I've shared with you guys today? Do you personally ban anything? How do you feel about dungeon masters who ban spells, classes, races, and feats? Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you join my Discord if you'd like to join our community and get involved in the community events that we run. And consider supporting my Patreon if you would like to gain access to a variety of tables, charts, and adventures. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time on Loki's Lair. Until then.